Hi.
Thanks for chatting with me today. I'm loving your office and just loving the whole shop here. It's really, really cool.
Thank you.
This is my first time visiting today, and I must say I'm very impressed, very impressed. So let's talk about the first question I got going on here. So you and Red Bull came together to bring the nostalgic two-stroke motocross racing to Moto Beach Classic. And let me tell you, my roots started in motocross and racing motocross, and I was stoked. I was really stoked when I saw this was going to come to Huntington. And tell us how this collaboration started.
I went to Straight Rhythm, and Jeremy Malott is the one who came up with the idea for Straight Rhythm and then pitched it to Red Bull.
Okay.
You know, he was Red Bull's marketing manager or athlete manager at the time, I think. In motorsports, I might be screwing that up totally. But him and I are good friends. We hang out outside of work and all that stuff, and our kids, and we just kind of been shooting the idea across. Like, I've been throwing the Moto Beach Classics. We've done some really big events on the beach. We did a huge music production at the same space we did Straight Rhythm this year in 2018 with like 25 bands. It was huge. And so we kind of had this experience of like putting on a really big event on the beach, and I was like, Jared, this could make sense for Straight Rhythm, because he was trying to figure out how to do something new with Straight Rhythm to make it bigger, better, more fun. They've done two strokes, they've done nostalgia, they've like done all that stuff, and it was like, bring it to the beach, dude. And so it was kind of like both of us coming together and having this concept of doing it. Of course, COVID hit, nothing happened. Then Jeremy just gives me a call out of the blue. He's like, dude, let's try and do Straight Rhythm on the beach. And I was like, sick.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Well, it was definitely a hit, and I think a lot of people in the community really appreciated it because, like, it's never been seen before. It's on a beach, and especially, like I said, I'm a motocross girl at heart, so this is awesome. You know, seeing great riders just in my backyard because I live in Huntington. So because this was such a great success, and you've done a few of these Moto Beach Classics, walk me through the highs and the lows of establishing such a stellar event, really.
Whew. I mean, the highs is like after it's done and everybody's safe,
Yeah.
and like we sold out and the event looked really good and the flow of the event was good and the vibe and the energy of the people. I mean, that's how I know we're a success.
Right.
Like when you could see the smiles on people's faces, and it permeates the entire crowd. And you know it, you could feel it. It's just a vibe, you know, and everyone had the same feeling of the vibe. You know, the low parts, just problem solving, you know, it's a part of every event. Not being completely ready, you know, being a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of things that needed to be done at the space. But it's always like a testament to your hard work when you bust your ass and you put out the fires that you need to put out, and then when gates open, like, people are enjoying and experiencing the event and how you envision them experiencing it, and all the hard work or all the drama just kind of goes away. Right. People don't see that. That's how you know you're successful with an event.
And did you kind of have like a visual in your head? Like what's your creative process in just thinking all of this out for an event? Do you have like a ultimate objective in mind?
Well, I want people to see something they haven't seen before, and I want to see it in a new way. And I think the beach gives us that opportunity, like, in spades. You know, we're able to like just go and set up. We have plenty of space to work with. It's more like trying to work around the sand. That's so hard because our entire event was on the sand. You know,
and we
our
like
entire
dirt.
Yeah, and so we put dirt on top of the sand and built a dirt track. But it was like it's just a challenge to work in the sand and to make it all aesthetically look the way we want it to look, you know. I mean, for me, the artwork was a huge part of our event this year because we wanted to give our event an aesthetic. So having these, you know, I think we had 8 or 9 art walls that were these like 8x12s that were double-sided, and it made the event have this visual. you know, for our portion of it, the Moto Beach Classic, you know, which we could see from Straight Rhythm, and you know, we kind of branded it, and I think it was cohesive and cool.
Yeah, no, it certainly was, and it was my first event this year visiting, and I really, really enjoyed myself. And obviously, you have a creative mind to really get to this point of where you are in your career. So, what are ways that you like to change things up to just change up your creative process and thinking? What are some things you like to do to change it up?
Give myself too much work, you know?
Yeah,
like,
fair enough.
I mean, I love to bring new people in,
Mm-hmm.
and every time you bring a new artist in, a new bike builder, somebody who's going to bring something that I haven't seen yet,
Mm-hmm.
and give them the freedom to execute, you know, their art and what they believe in, usually brings new aesthetic to the table, and I get inspired by that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, just also inspired by the production of the event and the ability for, you know, like Dane Heron and the States and Kingdom guys to execute the event and bring in that much dirt and build this track. And it was just like, we could do anything, you know, this is possible.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So for next year then, to really add on to this question, what should we expect for 2023? Like what's going through your head to make it different and new?
I mean, I would love to see and this is just, you know, us talking and shooting shit. I don't have any, we're a week and a half out.
Yeah.
No, a week and 2 days or 3 days out from the event. So we've got a lot of discussions are going to take place about what's possible for next year. That much work, I'd love to see it be a 2-day event, and I'd love to see music.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can appreciate that. Music brings us together.
We can put more of a show together. We can keep people at the beach a little bit longer. We can give them an excuse to come for 2 days. And if we do make it a 2-day event, it'll just blossom into like, it'll be an international affair. That's what happens when you do 2-day events, when you do bigger events. You give some people something to do on Friday night when they get in, pre-party, you get the Saturday and you get the Sunday, post-party on Sunday, and it's just a whole to-do.
Okay, so bigger and louder. I like that.
Bigger, louder, a little bit more energy.
Yeah, okay.
You know, you bring the music in and, you know, give people just an experience. Not that they didn't this year, it was a cool experience for sure, but a little bit more time, I think, on the beach.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can definitely appreciate that. So in the past you've said Super Hooligans is about racing bikes that don't necessarily belong on the track. Since electric motorcycle racing hasn't hit the mainstream, do you have plans on starting an electric division in the series at all?
We are, well, you saw we had 3 electric classes this last weekend at the Super Hooligan races. So we're giving people the ability to race their electric bikes, stay safe for kids, or the Super 73s that are a little bit more consumer. Then we did an open electric, so there's a few more electric bikes that participated. So we're trying to give people the room to ride all types of different electric. And then in Super Hooligan Racing, we are allowing electric bikes to race kind of open next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That should be an interesting turn.
It's going to be, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the way of the future.
Yeah,
So that's great.
We've got Energica coming out, so Energica will be racing. We had Livewire who raced.
Okay.
And Zero Motorcycles raced last year as well. So quite 3 different brands that have the potential to participate.
And do you think you're gonna get out and try it at all?
Am I?
Yeah.
I'll ride, but I'm kind of like committed to not racing right now.
Okay. Keep it safe. Keep the bones safe.
Keep the bones safe, but also keep my mind on the progression of the sport. Because when you're racing, it's a totally different mindset.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, everybody else's program doesn't mean as much. It's only like, for me, if I'm racing, I focus on me. Because racing is such a selfish endeavor. You know?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like...
And you need to be hyper-focused, so I get it.
I can't do... That's the one thing I know I can't do, because I'll stop giving a shit about the other things. And I think I'm placed in this position for a reason, to be able to do the things that we do and let other people go and race and have a good time. I must be fucking crazy.
You've hung up the boots, so to say.
For now.
For now.
Yeah.
So you recently collaborated with Harley Davidson to build the Pan America. What does the future hold for adventure bikes at RSD?
We didn't work with Harley Davidson specifically, but we built 2 Pan Americas.
Okay.
And we also just built a KTM adventure bike, as well as 1290.
Okay.
Yeah, Adventure R. So what does the future hold for adventure bikes? There's some of them are going Super Hooligan Racing, actually.
Wow,
so
okay.
we're almost,
Nothing surprises me.
we're deconstructing adventure bikes and turning them into road racers.
Nice.
We're allowing Pan America to ride in Super Hooligan next year. So we'll have Indian versus Harley Davidson versus Ducati versus BMW versus KTM.
Okay, so with this facet, is there anything specifically you would want to do with the adventure bikes outside of racing? Just create just some epic bikes for people who don't necessarily want to race but want to just go out and have an adventure?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
I mean, I love adventure bikes. I think that's like it's the most fun and useful category out there because you can build, Ducati, the Ducati Multistrada, like the new one, like the V4. I mean, these bikes that they're building are fantastic. They haul ass on the road. You go as fast as you want. It's like big supermoto, like 150 mile an hour supermoto bikes. That's what they are.
Too much fun.
Too much fun and totally capable on dirt and asphalt. So
okay,
cool. I think it's kind of like my pick as a bike if I wanted to go travel and do distance right now.
I mean, the most comfortable too. You can do a heck of a lot with them.
Yeah.
So your family is rooted in motorcycles. I think everyone can really agree on that. And there's a lot of heritage behind it. So you have had some great people backing you up, your sister, your mom and dad. So what's some advice you would give someone who wants to break into the motorcycle build world but doesn't have a lot of connections or experience in the industry?
If you're really just going for it as like an individual, you could watch a lot of YouTube videos. Start with a project you can accomplish. Don't think you're gonna like build a frame up build, from the ground up. Start with something that's there and do finishes. Just take stuff away, deconstruct. Like I like the deconstruct method of customization. It's kind of like where I always start is like, what can we take off of it to make it look cool? Sometimes you don't even need to do that much.
Okay.
You can build something special.
Would you say that's kind of walk me through then your creative process then on creating a build? Everyone I'm sure is different.
Yeah.
So if you're giving that advice to someone, just take out something, how do you do it then?
I usually start with the render.
Okay.
So I'll draw the bike and to scale. I use Photoshop. I used to hand sketch everything, but Photoshop is so easy for me to use now that I just start with Photoshop. I'll take the bike and knock out the background. So I'll take a direct side shot of it, knock out the background, pull the wheels off, pull the suspension off in Photoshop, and start to pull off the things that I don't want to be on the bike, and then I'll add them back in real simply on a white background, and then just start adding stuff in.
So do you like to make the bike lighter than heavier, or does it just depend on the build?
I like to see a bike be lighter weight.
Yeah, I feel like most people
Yeah, and that's like the
being a racer.
That's the deconstruction method.
Okay.
You know who Jamie Robinson is?
I don't.
No, he runs this little YouTube channel called Moto Geo.
Okay.
I say little, he actually has a lot of followers. But we built a Tenere 700.
Okay.
And by build, I mean deconstruct. So he brought this brand new Yamaha Tenere in, Tenere, that's how you say it, and just pulled everything off of it. Everything that the bike didn't need to operate. It still had all the electronics, still had the ABS, still had all the lighting, all that stuff. And we took off, I think it was 80 pounds off the bike in like 3 hours.
Okay.
And when he left, it looked a little bit Mad Max, but the thing was just badass, bare bones, get her down machine.
So when you're taking things apart, because so I mentioned previously, I grew up racing motocross. My brother, he's a pro racer, and so I've grown up watching my brother and dad take shit out of bikes, and they're always missing bolts. There's always that couple bolts missing. What's the funniest experience you've ever had just missing something after trying to put it back together after just taking all the shit off? You must have so many.
It's probably when I was a kid. My dad was rebuilding a Porsche motor, and he got finished, and apparently I had removed a bolt, and I took the bolt. I was like 5 years old, and I put it into like the side of the cabinet face. So my dad got done building the motor, and this bolt ended up. It was like an important fastener that he forgot to put back in the motor. And my dad goes up and he sees it, and he like picks it out of the cabinet, and he's like, "You little mother."
The most important piece.
The most important bolt. Apparently he missed it because it wasn't in the pile of bolts he was supposed to put on. So my dad had to tear the motor down.
Oh man, I feel like that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good story.
Yeah.
So tell us something you're proud of that you've been working on lately.
Wow. I mean, straight rhythm is the thing that comes to mind right now, because it was just an all hands on deck effort from my whole team too. So it was really like a team effort. So I'm personally proud of it, but I'm also proud that our crew and our group was able to accomplish what we accomplished. Next to Red Bull,
right?
When you partner with somebody that's used to doing massive events on a huge scale, like some of the world's coolest events,
Yeah, I mean, this
all
is
over the
mainstream now. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's mainstream. So for us to be able to do that with Red Bull, and I think that they were happy and we're happy, and we did our job. So pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really great. So is there any bike that you're working on that you're just super stoked to get started on?
Let's see. We just finished that KTM, which is super sick. Like, I love that thing. I just was stoked we finished it. We're building a crazy dragster right now. I'm building a BMW dragster out of an R18, which can be crazy. But I'm building a CRF 110 for my buddy Wee Man.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we're editing the bike so that he's able to ride it. He's got a really short inseam. Okay. But he wants to have a legit motocross bike, so we're gonna build him something.
Sweet. So he's gonna be taking it to the track, or just
riding with the boys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very fun. So to end off, what are some exciting things you have in the pipeline at RSD for 2023? You must have a shit ton going on.
Man, we just launched a new apparel line called the 74 collection, which is like a V-twin derived apparel line. It's like really affordable price points, but really good product. We launched a new hard parts collection called Sector. Okay. It's mainly V-twin focused motorcycle parts. And it's all made here in the United States. Like made in Southern California / Long Beach. It's all like right here. Super Hooligan 2023, partnering with Moto America, and we're doing this road race series and racing Indian FTRs, and we're also racing in the bagger class. So we raced the King of the Baggers class in Moto America this year, and we'll be doing that again in 2023.
Cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, that's pretty much it. But I do have one last question, just one last. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given that sticks with you just every single day? Whether it's, from racing, from business, anything that's your motto every single day.
What you think about, you bring about.
Ooh, I like that. That's a very creative mind thinking. I like that.
Yeah, it doesn't just happen. You got to make it happen, create it.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sitting with me today and chatting, and keep up the great work.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.